in a luxurious villa, a pleasurable moan echoed through the air. Chuck Howe, you come from the countryside and you're blind, you probably haven't been with a woman before. Even though your eyes can't see, but I truly am a stunning beauty. You're about to marry my sister, let me teach you, otherwise you won't know a thing when the time comes. MMM. Chuck Howe responded lightly, his hand caressing her abdomen, finding the acupoints and applying some pressure. As Lillian Lin let out a soft moan, he withdrew his hand and said, "There you go. In the future, when you have your period, come find me and I'll give you a massage. It won't hurt anymore. Sit up and feel it." "It really doesn't hurt anymore," Lillian Lin exclaimed happily. "Wow, if you go and do blind massages, you could make a lot of money." Chuck Howe's brow furrowed. "I am a healer." After saying that, he continued, "If there's nothing else, please guide me out." Out. Lillian Lin's voice from the bed suddenly turned strange. "Why do you want to go out?" Without waiting for Chuck Howe to react, Lillian Lin grabbed his hand and exerted force. Chuck Howe lost his balance and tumbled down, falling directly onto Lillian Lin's body. "Chuck Howe, what are you doing? You can't do this, I'm Qin Yi's sister, don't do this." Immediately, Lillian Lin let out a scream of terror. Bang! The room door was kicked open. Click, click. The sound of a camera's shutter echoed, accompanied by an angry voice. "Chuck Howe, what the fuck are you doing? Are you even human?" Shortly after, a burly figure rushed to Chuck Howe's front, grabbing him forcefully from the bed. On the bed, Lillian Lin, partially undressed, wore a terrified expression. She pulled up the covers to hide her body and said, "How could you do this to me? I'm Qin Yi's own sister." The burly figure holding Chuck Howe wore a sinister smile on his face. Bang! Then he threw a punch directly at Chuck Howe's face. Chuck Howe staggered, pushed back by the punch, his back hitting the corner of the table. A piercing pain shot through his spine, and he slumped to the ground. "You think someone like you, a piece of trash, can marry Linda?" the man sneered. "You're dreaming. I took a photo of what just happened, and I'll send it to Mr. Lin. He won't say a word against it." Chuck Howe forced a bitter smile. At this moment, he realized that ever since he set foot in this house, he had fallen into the Lin family's scheme. The Lin family was a wealthy and prestigious clan in Zhongcheng. Chuck Howe, on the other hand, came from a rural background. His grandfather and Linda Lin's grandfather were best friends, and Chuck Howe and Linda Lin were childhood playmates. When they were 10 years old, their grandfathers arranged a marriage for them. The wedding was set for the year when Chuck Howe turned 30. For all these years, Chuck Howe had been following his grandfather, working as a wandering doctor in the countryside. 3 years ago, he lost his sight due to certain circumstances. Linda Lin's grandfather, on the other hand, had left the countryside and built a business empire in Zhongcheng over the past 20 years. His net worth was in the billions, and he had long become rich. A month ago, with half a year left until Chuck Howe turned 30, his grandfather asked him to fulfill the engagement and come to Zhongcheng. He came alone, determined to abide by his grandfather's agreement. If the Lin family broke the engagement when he turned 30, he would return. Until today, the Lin family had deliberately avoided him, with Mr. Lin bedridden and the rest of the family unwilling to see him. But Chuck Howe, true to his grandfather's wishes, intended to wait for 6 more months. If the Lin family reneged on the agreement when he turned 30, he would leave. However, today the Lin family suddenly invited him and asked him to come to discuss the engagement. Linda Lin's sister, Lillian Lin, personally came to fetch him. When they arrived at the Lin family villa, Lillian Lin said that the family hadn't returned yet. Then she heard that Chuck Hao had some medical knowledge, and she was experiencing severe menstrual pain. She wanted Chuck Hao to take a look. So Chuck Hao gave her a simple acupressure massage. Originally, Chuck Hao thought that the Lin family wanted to fulfill the engagement. But now it seemed that it was all just a ruse. Feeling the intense pain in his back, Chuck Hao remained calm. He let out a long breath and said, "If you just want to cancel the wedding, you didn't have to go to such lengths." "You dare to talk back?" The man stepped forward, punching and kicking the invisible Chuck Hao relentlessly, aiming to beat him to death. Chuck Hao couldn't fight back. He covered his head with his hands and remained silent. "Jackzo, that's enough." At this moment, Linda Lin's voice rang out. "Don't let things go too far." Only then did Jackzo spit at Chuck Hao and curse, "Fuck you, a country bumpkin trying to climb the social ladder. Do you know how many people in Zhongcheng consider Linda their goddess? You're nothing but a useless blind man. Do you really think you deserve to marry Linda? The next time I meet you in Zhongcheng, I'll kill you." Linda Lin approached, calmly looking at Chuck Hao and asked, "Where's the marriage certificate?" Chuck Hao struggled to sit up, reached into his pocket, and said, "If you simply want to cancel the wedding, just say it. I'll agree to it. There's no need for us to become enemies." "Enemies? Who do you think you are?" Jackzo sneered. "Today, we've schemed against you, we've targeted you. What can you do about it? You're nothing but a worthless village bumpkin." Seeing Chuck Hao pull out the red piece of paper, Linda Lin's expression brightened, and she snatched it away. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. She instantly tore the marriage certificate into shreds. Chuck Hao, at this moment, appeared somewhat disheveled. He had been beaten by Jackzo, the bandage on his face had loosened, revealing a pair of tightly closed eyes. "Chuck Hao, don't blame me." Linda Lin gritted her teeth and said, "We may have been childhood friends, but you're well aware of the difference in our social status, not to mention the fact that you're blind." My eyes will recover in a few days," Chuck Hao interrupted, "but that doesn't matter anymore." He struggled to get up from the ground, his back seemed to be broken, with bits of flesh and blood, and his face had started to swell due to the beating. "A blind man can recover?" Jackzo chuckled. "Do you really think you're a miracle doctor?" "You're Jackzo, right?" Chuck Hao asked. "I'll remember you." Upon hearing Chuck Hao's slightly threatening words, Jackzo became furious. He grabbed an ashtray from the nearby table and smashed it towards Chuck Hao's head, saying, "What can you do even if I kill you?" Bang! The ashtray hit Chuck Hao's head. Intense pain surged through Chuck Hao's body. He felt his mind go black, and he collapsed to the ground with a thud. Linda Lin was startled and quickly asked, "Jackzo, you went too far. What if something goes wrong?" Jackzo, with a fierce expression, shrugged indifferently. "What could go wrong? He's just a blind guy from the countryside. Even if I finish him off, burying him somewhere in the wilderness, who will find him? But it's a life after all." Linda Lin still showed a timid expression. Although she wanted to get rid of Chuck Hao, it didn't mean she didn't care about human life. After all, Chuck Hao had been her childhood friend, and she still had some feelings for him. Seeing Linda Lin hesitating again, Jackzo softened his tone and said gently, "Linda, don't think too much. Leave the rest to me, okay? I won't cause any loss of life." Linda Lin looked at Jackzo with a mix of discomfort and hesitation. "Don't